Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new video. Here we are again on the Diffuser saga. Now, if you guys haven't been following the videos, let me catch you up to speed real quick. A couple weeks ago, I actually tried the OLM VA carbon fiber diffuser. That ended up not working out. I wasn't happy with it. So I ended up selling that. And then I decided to get the Verus engineering one, which we have right here. A lot of people were recommending this one. But before I got this one, which is the non-aggressive version, I was sent the wrong one. And I got the aggressive version, which is still here. As you can see in the box, the fins are a little bit more aggressive than the ones over here. I'm not a big fan of the fins coming out past the diffuser. So we got everything corrected. And now I finally have the correct one. And I'm really looking forward to getting this on the car. I will say this quality is top notch. You guys saw in the beginning of the video of me taking off the diffuser that I have been running, which was the Carbon Creations one. It's pretty much just a rear valance kind of piece. It served no performance aspects or anything. It was just purely for cosmetic, just to kind of flow with all the other carbon pieces that I have, the lip kit and everything, the spats, which is a really nice piece. I actually ran a previous diffuser as well by Icon Motorsports. It's a popular style and design as well, which I really liked. And then I went to the carbon one. Again, I like that too, but I wanted something a little bit different. Now, the main reason why I'm changing over diffusers is because I always felt that the rear end was lacking something. Now, if you look all on the bottom of the car, from the lip all the way on the sides to the rear spats, everything is nice and even. And then we come back to the rear, and the rear just comes up way too high in my opinion. So I know the little Carbon Creations one I had just went right in the middle right here. And it always looked a little goofy because it went back, then went up around the exhaust, then down, then up. And it kind of looked a little off to me. So I wanted something that was going to actually keep the same height all the way across. Insert a diffuser. Now, I'm not a big fan of the really big hair clipper sheet metal style diffusers. This one, on the other hand, is geared actually towards performance. It's actually going to give you some downforce. There's a ton of R&D on this. They have charts, and it's insane how much time and research that they put into actually making this. So it actually does serve a performance aspect to the car. Now, will I see that on the street for how I drive this car? Probably not. Oh, I know I won't. But overall, it's nice knowing that I'm putting something on the car that actually serves somewhat of a purpose. It's not just something I'm sticking on the car. Now, this piece is super, super nice. It's very, very high quality. The finish on it is super nice. I really, really like the logoing here. It's not a stick or anything, so it's not going to wear off. I believe it's printed on there. It's very, very nice. The overall, like I said, the fins, if you remember on the OLM one, the fins were super wobbly. These don't move at all. This is what I was expecting on the OLM one. Those don't move at all. And you can see it kind of wraps around, so it's going to come up a little bit on the rear of the car, and it's actually going to hide a little bit of the stock diffuser, the little fins down here, which I'm never really a big fan of. So it's going to come up a little bit, hide them, and it's going to look really, really nice. Now, one of the problems I had with the OLM one was that it wouldn't fit the exhaust. There was no clearance or no tolerance for any type of exhaust. The rear on the other one just went all the way down and straight across. This, as you can see, has a cutout right there, which fits many, many different types of exhaust. ETS being one of them, so there's going to be plenty of clearance and it's going to fit just fine. Another part why I like this one so much is the mounting points. This is actually chassis mounted. It's going directly on the sway bar mounts, the bushing mounts. So I'll show you obviously when I go to install it, but if we go under, it's gonna be very hard to see, but you can see that bolt right there where the bushing for the sway bar, that is where it's actually connecting on the rear. It's gonna be actually mounted to the chassis of the car, so it's gonna have some rigidity and it's actually going to perform the way it should, as opposed to the OLM one where there was literally no mounting points on the back of the suspension or anything. It was literally just kind of drilling up into the plastic, and it really, really wasn't that great. So this actually mounts very, very nicely, and I'm really looking forward to getting it on. Also on the sides here, you got your little spats parts that go underneath the spats here. Then you got your little fins that you can slip in, and you can actually adjust. You can actually see the little groove, so you can kind of adjust how much you want this fin to be up or down. So it's really, really nice. I'm very, very happy with this. I'm glad I decided to go this route. I'm glad you guys kind of steered me in this direction. Now, I have ran a Verus piece before. I ran their front splitter on the car actually about a year ago. I didn't end up running it since it was going to be too low because it was pretty thick. It was about like a 1/2 inch thick. and it would have got torn off in 2 seconds. So I ended up getting rid of that. But this piece, I've always been looking at it, and I'm really, really happy with the quality. I'm really happy I decided to go with this one overall. Now, in terms of the mounting hardware, first real quick, sorry, I have the fan on. It's like 95 degrees in here, crazy, crazy hot. There's bugs everywhere, so that is gonna be on, so pardon the noise. But remember I mentioned in the other one that all the hardware and the brackets were silver? Well, there we go. I said I wish they were black. Verus Engineering took exactly what I said, and they have black hardware. So it's gonna blend in. You're not gonna be able to see it. This is all the hardware that you're gonna use. These over here are actually gonna go into the side for the rear spats. They're actually rivnuts. They're threaded, so you're gonna pop them in, and they're tightened down. Just like their front lip, I actually had to use the same things on the front bumper when I had their splitter on. And I actually still use them to this day to hold the front bumper on it. I don't use those plastic clips anymore underneath. It's all actually Allen screws and these threaded rivnuts, which are really nice. This is all the hardware that you're going to use. It's very straightforward. These brackets actually go, these little pop clips right here, you pop them out. There's actually a bracket behind here that's going to bolt right up to it. So it's going to have some rigidity there as well. And then the spats are going to mount under here, and then they kind of meet up and you screw them together, and it's going to be very, very sturdy. It's going to look really, really nice, and I'm really looking forward to it. So let's go ahead. Let's get started on the install of the Verus non-aggressive diffuser. Also, real quick note that I want to mention before we get started. Remember on the OLM version that I was saying there was no instructions, no directions, nothing? Well, Verus and their website has literally a PDF file that you can click on. Shows you step by step with pictures, everything of how to do it, what hardware to use. That is how you do it. I will link it down below for you guys. So this is the exact instructions that I'm following. So if you're curious and you want to see it, go ahead and click in the link below. That is the way to do it. So first thing they're asking you to do is actually loosen up the bolts right here on the sway bar bushing mount. They say to take this one out and loosen that one. But I'm going to loosen this one first just to see if I can get the bracket slid in. If I can get away without loosening the top, that'd be great. So let's go ahead and loosen this one up, remove it actually. I believe it either is a 12 or 14. I will let you guys know once I get there. But first thing, go ahead and loosen and remove this bolt. Just a quick tip, it is a 12 millimeter. I ended up loosening the top since I was right there, and I can tell I would need a little bit extra space to be able to get the little bracket in there. So let's go ahead, let's put the bracket in, then we can put these bolts back in. All right, so I'm still trying to install the first bracket. What I actually had to do, if you can't tell, is I actually had to elongate the bracket. And the main reason for that is because I am running an aftermarket sway bar with larger bushings, as well as the Super Pro bracket right there. So this is actually not able to slip behind that bushing because the sway bar is so thick. So what I did is elongate that hole a little bit. I used a file, and then I put some touch-up paint on there. It's aluminum, so it's not going to rust or anything, but I did it there just in case. So now that it fits, we can get the bolt in, and we'll be good to go. All right, so as you can see, the bracket is in. I did it off camera because I ended up having to use a 13 millimeter bolt that was a little bit longer. Since the bracket is a little bit thicker, the stock bolts just wouldn't reach the threads properly. So I found one, same thread pitch and everything, just a little bit longer, and it's a 13 millimeter. So I left it a little bit loose so I can adjust once I actually get the diffuser on. But now that we did this side, the other side's gonna be a little bit easier. And I'll just do it real quick on the other side so we can get moving on to the next step. So just for reference, here is the stock 12 millimeter, and this is the one that I'm using. So I would say it's about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch longer or so. Same thread pitch and everything, but it's a 13 millimeter. So yeah, I'm using this one for the bottom bolt. All right, so we got the brackets done. We got the passenger side done, as well as the driver's side. So next step, we're actually going to go towards the front. You see all the holes from all the diffusers that I have ran. But these two pop clips, one here, and the one over here, we're gonna remove them, and then we're gonna add those little black brackets for the next mounting point. Go figure, they break every time. Now for these brackets where we just took those pop clips out, we're gonna use one of the Allen screws, a washer, and one of these locking nuts. As you can tell, there's a slotted side and just the normal hole side. This normal hole side goes to where those pop rivets were. This side you're going to put towards the bottom of the car so you have some room for adjustment. But let's go ahead and get these in so we can get the brackets mounted to the car. All right, so we got the brackets up front installed, super simple. The serrated nut makes it super easy to tighten down. You don't have to hold the nut or anything. It gets nice and tight. Now we're going to move on actually putting the rivnuts in that is on the side under the spat here. Now, I am running the USDM spats, so I'm gonna do some customization. Now you can see 3 pop clips, 1, 2, well, there's not a pop clip there, but there's 1 hole underneath the actual spat here. So I'm actually gonna have to drill through that in order to get a nut through it and put the nut cert inside this part. I'll show you once I get it done, but I am gonna have to drill little holes. So if you do run the USDM or the JDM spats, you are gonna have to drill through that to get access to that hole back there. So let me go ahead and do that and get these pop clips out, and then I'll show you what I did. All right, so I got all of the rivnuts in, 1, 2, and then what I did was end up cutting a little hole right there, and I was able to get the rivnut in there. So I just had to trim it back a little bit. It's not the prettiest thing, but I was able to get it done. Most likely I'm going to have to find a longer screw to actually thread into that one. But I got a bunch of screws and bolts and stuff that I can probably find something. So let's go ahead, repeat it on the other side. I'll show you how to put these in real quick, and then we can get to actually installing the diffuser. All right, so to install one of these rivnuts, really simple. Just get one of these, and you want to get the little tool that it comes with, which is a little metal kind of spacer. One edge has some ridges, the other one is smooth. You want the ridges facing the actual rivnut so it bites into it. So now we're going to go over to the car. We're going to be working in this hole. So you just want to take your rivnut and your screw and your little tool, screw it in. Then you're going to insert in to wherever you're putting the rivnut. I am using a 15mm wrench. Then I'm going to use a 5mm T-handle. It's kind of hard to do this all one. It's kind of hard to do this under the car, but, and then we're just gonna tighten. Then once you got it tight, just gonna loosen it back up. And the rivnut will stay in place. So now you have a threaded insert for the diffuser to go into. I already did this one, as you can see. Now I just gotta do the one over there where I gotta cut a little bit, and then we can get going and putting the actual diffuser on the car. All right, so we got all the brackets, all the rivnuts, everything on the car ready to go. So now we can actually get to installing. So what we're gonna do is actually install the front tabs first and then kind of work our way back. So they tell you to use the long bolts with 1 washer, 1 of these small spacers, and then a nut on top once you get it through the bracket. So there is holes right there and there. You're gonna slide this through with the spacer on the other side of the diffuser, and then put the little nut on, and you should be good to go. All right, so it's after midnight. It's been a while since I filmed last. What I ended up having to do actually was remove these Super Pro brackets, the braces that go from the sway bar to the lower control arms. The reason being is the back part of the diffuser was interfering with this part right here. So I wasn't able to use these, which is not a big deal. These things were only like 50 bucks, and to be honest, I didn't feel any difference or anything with them on or off, so I'm not too upset. But you cannot run sway bar braces with this diffuser. It just gets in the way unless you really want to run these. You'd have to cut the back of the diffuser to run these, which I wasn't willing to do. But I don't have it tightened down yet, but I have it up as high as it can go. I use the small spacer up in the front here, so it's tucked up nice and high. So now I'm gonna get the sides on, and we should wrap this up. I ended up having to jack up this side a little bit just so I can get more clearance. It's not all the way up yet, so I'm gonna work around and play with it a little bit, but I will catch back up with you in a little bit. all you gotta do is just screw in the sides to the rib nuts that we just put in, slide in the little fin on this side, and then we could be done. So I will catch back up with you once I get that installed. I'm pretty beat. It's one of those things that is taking much longer than anticipated, but overall, I'm really liking how it looks. Looks really clean, and it fits very well, minus removing these. So let's go ahead, finish it up, and then I'll catch back up with you in a second. All right, guys, so I got this side totally buttoned up. Naturally, I had some titanium hardware that I would use just in the front there. I think I'm going to get titanium hardware for the entire thing, but I just had some spares, and I got that all tidied up. Looks really, really good. I'm really happy with that look. I think it looks pretty darn awesome, especially in person. I just got to get that side on, which I'll show you how to do everything. And I got some more titanium hardware to use on that side, so we should be good to go. But it is currently 1 a.m. And again, this took much longer than anticipated, but I'm doing it right, making sure I'm taking my time. I tucked everything up as far as I possibly could. So it's really, really tight against the bottom of the car. I didn't want it hanging down. I wanted to make it look like it was part of the car. So let's go ahead, throw this last side on, and then we can wrap things up. All right, guys, it is 1:48 in the morning. I just finished. I still have to clean up all the insane mess and tools and everything that I was using, but it turned out really, really good. Everything lines up nice. I'm really, really liking this. It was a lot of work, but you can look underneath. It is really, really nicely bolted up. I mean, this thing is insanely sturdy. It is not going anywhere. I changed some of the bolts, as I mentioned, to titanium, but here I end up using some black hardware. I think I'm gonna end up getting titanium hardware just to kind of do the little details and do what I do. You know, and I never really was a big fan of adding fins on fins, but overall I think this works since they're kind of tucked under. You don't really see them as much. The aggressive one, you know, obviously they pop out a little bit more, so it's more noticeable, which I still have here if anybody is interested. It is brand new, never used. If you want to pick it up, let me know. But yeah, I'm definitely pleased with that. I think it looks great. And you know, so all the silver hardware there, that will look much better in titanium because it will kind of blend in a little bit more. But the rear end looks super aggressive, really, really nice. But yeah, I'm absolutely beat. I'm disgusting. And again, it's almost 2 in the morning. So it's 1:49 right now. So yeah, I gotta start the car right now because it's halfway outside, and hopefully my neighbors don't get pissed. If you are a neighbor and you are watching, I am sorry. I wasn't anticipating this taking this long. I'll catch back up with you in a little bit, and we'll get some beauty shots and give you a better look. All right, guys, good morning. Well, for me, it is actually about 4 or 5 hours later since I filmed last. Pretty crazy, pretty tired, but we got the diffuser installed and I like it a lot. Everything fits very, very well. It really brings down the rear end to exactly where I wanted it. So it gives it a much more fuller, much more complete look in my mind. And it just looks really good. Again, everything is super sturdy, super well put together. All the brackets and everything fit very well. I was driving very hard just before, and I didn't notice any difference from removing those little braces that I had on there, so that's not that big of a deal. I'm not too worried about that. Those things, like I said, I think were only like 50 bucks or so, so it's not the end of the world. I was driving hard on the way here, just kind of see if I could feel any downforce, if I could feel any difference in the rear end. You know, it's kind of hard to do that in the street. I really couldn't push it that hard. But overall, knowing that this is a performance aspect modification, and then it really, really does add some downforce once you start getting up to speed, it's definitely a plus in my book. And honestly, seeing it now in the sunlight and the daylight, I am super happy with this. No, it's not carbon fiber, but to be honest, Taking away some of the carbon that I did have on the car, I think, is a good idea, simply due to the fact that there's no carbon in the rear right here, except for the exhaust finishers. So I think it's a nice little touch, but it kind of blends in with the rear bumper back here, and it gives it a really, really good look. So I'm very, very, very happy with that. So me being me, as I mentioned, I use a few Titanium Works hardware pieces. I'm going to hit them up today. I'm going to get a count of everything, and I'm going to replace all the hardware with titanium, just because that's me, and I like the way it looks, and I've done that pretty much around the car. So I'm going to place an order with my guy at Titanium Works to get everything situated, and then we can dress it up a little bit, make it even better than it already is, and it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Here's a quick close-up of everything. It looks fantastic. Like I said, hard to show underneath, obviously, because it is so low. But I didn't have any issues scraping getting in and out of the driveway or anything like that, so I'm not worried about it at all. So before we wrap this video up, I just want to give a huge shout out to Bryant at Envision Tuning. He is my guy. I go to him for all my exhaust. He gets them to me very quickly. He always has them in stock. And I went to him for my Verus diffuser as well. He's actually the one that I got my brakes from as well. So I've been purchasing from Bryant for many, many years, and every single time he gets it to me very quickly, very responsive, one of the best out there. So if you're looking for anything, not just STI or WRX related, they do Supras, they do GTRs, they do pretty much everything. Definitely hit him up. He has the best prices. He'll get it to you super fast. So once again, thank you to Bryant. I really do appreciate it. So that is it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a late install for me, but overall, really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and the end result is exactly what I was looking for, so I couldn't be any happier. If you have any questions at all, be sure to ask them below, but in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.